Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Today is September 5th, 2023. Happy September. Thank you for joining us today for our Administrative Matters meeting here in the hearing room at the Larimer County Administrative Services Building. I call this meeting to order. Please join me as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for joining me with the Pledge of Allegiance today. Again, welcome and good morning. I am Larimer County Commissioner Jody Scheibig-Nally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. I welcome you to our meeting today, and I'd like to also say I'm joined at the dais by my colleagues, Larimer County Commissioner Kristen Stevens and Larimer County Commissioner John Kafalis. Also helping with our meeting across the way is our clerk to the board, Tessa Beatty. Good morning, Tessa. Our Larimer County County Manager, Lorenda Volker, Tom Clayton from our Public Information Office. Good morning, Tom. And from the Commissioner's Office, Sarah Martin, who helps us with our boards and commissions, our schedules, all sorts of great things. So thank you all for your work today and helping us with this meeting. And we'll move on now to public comment. I will start first with those in the room to see if anyone in the room would like to do public comment. You would have 3 minutes. All you have to do is just signal to me and you are welcome to come forward for public comment. Okay, seeing none, I do know we have one person who is calling in. Sarah, would you mind getting Mr. Sarner on the phone, please? I will start first with those in the room to see if Good morning, Mr. Sarner. This is Larimer County Commissioner Jody Scheibig-Nally. I hear you'd like to have public comment. Please introduce yourself, where you're from. You'd have 3 minutes, sir. Mr. Sarner? Okay. Can you turn off your video or the YouTube, and can you hear us, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sarner, please identify yourself, where you're from. You'd have 3 minutes for public comment, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is Larry Sarner. I'm a former resident of Loveland, and I'm glad to speak to you this morning, Commissioners. I want to address a number of things that involve subsidization by Larimer County. There are things that have been happening in Loveland that I think you should be taking notice of, and also that you should be reacting to. There are three things that have come up that will insist upon you giving some share back of property tax revenue. And I want to say that you probably may be considering that you've got a windfall coming in from the reevaluation of property in Larimer County. In fact, given the numbers that have just come out or came out a couple of weeks ago from the county assessor, it looks like that Larimer County will have a $48 million windfall from the revaluation. I think you should be giving most of that back to the people because it is a real hardship on people. But you may be tempted to give it away to the oligarchs in Loveland who want subsidies for their otherwise unworkable projects. The latest one that was indicated that they were in discussions with Larimer County and perhaps with the county manager is Bass Pro Shops, which is a $2 billion project that is coming your way. and they even said that they were in negotiations with you or with the Larimer County over a share back of property taxes for the future. This is incredible over the years. Okay, there is no reason you should be doing it. There's no law that requires it, and in fact, good public policy would reject it. It's already a done deal as far as Loveland is concerned. You don't need to add injury to injury. I also hear that there's going to be another meeting of the Larimer or the Loveland Urban Renewal Authority to reconsider the plan with Centerra South. Okay? The people of Loveland have something that's going on the ballot. Okay? To insist upon the people having some say in this and anything that modifies a plan. You should be hesitant to meet. They are trying to get past that. You should be hesitant in agreeing to get past it by meeting in October. And they say that you are...
Mr. Sarner, I hate to, your time is up, sir. Can you wrap it up with a sentence or a quick statement? You're out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sorry. And there's also a water park that's being proposed. So please give some opportunity to the people to actually have some reaction to apply to everyone else.
Thank you, Mr. Sarner. Thank you. Thank you for your public comment. Sarah, is there anyone else who would like to call in for public comment? I don't think we received any emails as well.
Nope, that's it.
Great. One more time for those in the public. Okay, I will now close public comment. All right, so colleagues, I'll give you an opportunity if you'd like to respond to Mr. Sarner's comments. We'll start with Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Sarner, for your comments. We understand that property taxes were high, and so we do not intend to use any kind of windfall to do anything. We have stated publicly several times that we are wanting to do a mill levy credit for folks, and so we will look into that should HH not pass in the fall. So just wanted to say that there's no excitement about a windfall that we're going to somehow use to subsidize any kind of businesses that are coming into our communities. Second of all, wanted to say I don't know anything about the Bass Pro Shops, but there's no conversations about that happening to my knowledge yet. So I think it's premature to say that we are doing any kind of subsidizing of that company coming into Loveland. We do try to make good public policy. And I understand the cautions around an urban renewal authority, but I also understand that as a good faith partner, we are part of the conversations that happen with urban renewal authorities, both in Loveland and Fort Collins and all the communities within Larimer County. So the idea that we can't participate or that we can walk away is really not a truth. We really have to participate as good faith partner. And we have, and I thank Commissioner Shattuck McNally for her service on that board. And we will continue to work together with our partners to come up with the best solution for Larimer County residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Larry, thank you for your well-intentioned, thoughtful, passionate comments. I don't really have much to add from what Commissioner Stevens said regarding property tax revenue. It is our intention to provide some property tax relief depending on the outcome of Proposition HH, a statewide ballot measure that will be on the November ballot. So that is our intention there, which we intend to follow through on. And regarding urban renewal authorities and other matters related to that, again, I don't have anything to add. I believe Commissioner Stevens responded accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kafalis. I'll just add a few things. I think Commissioner Stevens stated it well. I want to remind everyone, we have, just as Commissioner Stevens stated, we have been fairly vocal for months now regarding the property tax windfall, which is not really a windfall. It's just the values of the homes went up. And we never intended to ever, use that. We have a very tight and very, I believe, pragmatic, good stewards of taxpayer money, and we have been very careful with our budget process to plan for HH, and we're actually looking at reductions in some of our budget areas that I think will be coming in the coming weeks. I suggest the public be very much aware of those cuts and those conversations, as we'll have some public sessions. To remind everyone, property tax, there's over 376 taxing entities in Larimer County. County is one of those with property taxes. And some of our property tax bills, the county is only 23%. 20 to 25% of the property tax bill. In some areas in Loveland, inside a metro district, we're only 15% of the property tax bill. And so I want to just remind everyone that that money is Larimer County is looking at those very frugally, and we will, as we had stated, if H8 doesn't pass, we had already planned before this Senate Bill 303 had been introduced to put HH on the ballot, and we had planned to use our statutory authority to adjust those rates where we have the statutory powers to do that. And I just wanted to remind everyone, also, we're trying to be good faith partners. We have been very active in any kind of urban renewal authority conversations, both in Fort Collins and Timnath and Loveland. And we also will always look at how we are being good stewards of the county's and taxpayers' money. And just want to remind everyone, these matters are very complicated, and we're always trying to be very transparent to the community, always, and very accountable. And so I appreciate, Mr. Sarner, your passionate and very dedicated comments, and appreciate you bringing some of these attention. I am very aware of the two ballot measures going on the ballot about the Urban Renewal Authority approvals by voters and the sales tax repeal on food. And I really encourage all Larimer County voters across the county to make sure when this ballot measures come out this fall that they are well informed, ask lots of questions, and make sure they understand what is on the ballot and what they're voting for or not voting for. So with that, we'll move on, and thank you again for your participation in public comment. We'll close public comment where we have. We'll move on to approval of the minutes. Colleagues, did you have any changes or additions or deletions for the minutes that have been submitted by our clerk's office? Commissioner Kafalis, I'd welcome a motion to approve the minutes, please.
Yes, I move to approve the minutes for the weeks of August 21st and August 28th, 2023.
Thank you, sir, for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to skip over our schedule. Sorry. I put a check mark by it, and so I moved on and trying to skip over that. Thanks, Commissioner Stevens. Sarah, let's talk about our schedule. September is shaping up to be an extremely busy month for all of us.
All right, this is the Commissioner's schedule for September 11th through the 15th, 2023. On Monday, September 11th, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the Virtual Transportation Commissioner Coordination Meeting. From 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., the Commissioners will attend the 9/11 Memorial Groundbreaking event at Spring Park at 2000 Matthews Street in Fort Collins. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a work session with Mark Pfaffinger, Support Services Director, regarding internal services in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioners Shattuck McNally may participate in the Virtual Forest Health Council Leveraging Resources Committee meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources, in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team in the hearing room on the first floor. On Tuesday, September 12th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual South Platte Basin Roundtable meeting. From 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the High Plains School Grand Opening event at 4255 Buffalo Mountain Drive in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Environmental Science Advisory Board meeting in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor. On Wednesday, September 13th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the 10-County Budget Conference at the Beaver Run Resort and Conference Center at 620 Village Road in Breckenridge. From 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Workforce Development Board meeting at the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor. From 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Agricultural Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Lake Estes Conference Room on the third floor or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, September 14th, from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fort Collins Downtown Development Authority Board meeting at the Enosphere Ventures at 320 East Vine Drive, Suite 101 in Fort Collins. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the 10-County Budget Conference Beaver Run Resort at the Beaver Run Resort and Conference Center at 620 Village Road in Breckenridge. From 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Larimer County Interagency Oversight Group meeting. From 1 p.m. to 2:50 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual Prescription Subcommittee meeting. From 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Peakview Academy at Conrad Ball Grand Opening event at 2660 North Monroe Avenue. On Friday, September 15th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the 10-County Budget Conference at the Beaver Run Resort and Conference Center at 620 Village Road in Breckenridge. And from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis may participate in the virtual Northern Colorado Partners meeting.
Thank you, Sarah. Colleagues, I have a few changes. Do you have any changes, Commissioner Stevens?
I do, Madam Chair. On Thursday, September 14th, from 3 to 4, speaking of urban renewal authorities, I will have the Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Finance Committee. I was just appointed to that committee. And then I think I will be also attending the Wellness Court that day, but I have to double check on the times for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you. I have two potential additions on Friday, September 15th. I think both Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I are planning to attend a mural event para mi familia at Los Tarascos on South College. I think that's appropriate to add to the calendar, 6 to 8 p.m. And then also on Saturday, September 16th, I will be participating in the North Fork of the Poudre River Watershed Tour, meeting at 9 a.m. at Livermore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Sarah, on Friday, first on Thursday, I'm only going to do the first hour of the this is the State Fire Commission committee meeting between the Forest Health Council and the Fire Commission. So I'll just be there in the first hour. I'm going to step out of things at the budget conference to jump into that meeting because we're only meeting once in a while. And then the oversight group, I'm only going to do the first hour of that as well. And then on Friday, I have to jump down off and chair my Forest Health Council meeting at 8:30. And I'm also going to be finishing up and listening in at the NOCO Partners 50/50 meeting. That morning is going to be a busy day. And then driving back on the 15th, I will be going to the Stanley Home Museum for the Women Get It Done. I'm asked to speak there. It's going to be a big event. And then I'm going to come down from that and join at the last part for the back to school event at Los Tarascos with Commissioner Kafalis. On the 16th of Saturday, I will be speaking at and joining the climate meetup in Fort Collins. In Loveland at Centennial Park.
What time is that?
And that's on Saturday. I think it starts at 10 a.m. And I'm also speaking at the Heart and Soul Latinay Heritage Month at 2 p.m. And that's at the Foot Lagoon. I think it's Foot Lagoon in Loveland.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry I didn't get that on yet, but lots, like I said, lots happening in September. Okay, so I think that's all we're adding. Let me just make a note here so I don't forget mine to get that on there too. Okay, so now we'll move on to the consent agenda. So consent agendas consist of items of no perceived controversy and routine administrative actions such as abatements, agreement, deeds, final plats, liquor license, resolutions, and other matters previously reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda. A commissioner may request that an item be pulled off the consent agenda and considered separately. Items pulled from the consent agenda will be considered after the board takes action on the remainder of the consent agenda. I will now read through the consent agenda. I do have a special note of one item that will probably be pulled for this week and continued on to next week. For those, I'm going to read at a very high level on the consent agenda. For those who want to have more information and more detail, our agendas and adjoining information and more in depth about the consent agenda on our website at the Larimer Board of Larimer County Commissioners. There you can find all kinds of information about our meetings, videos, our emails, all kinds of information, including the agendas and accompanying attachments. So let's start with our consent agenda for Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. We have five petition for abatement or refund of taxes. And they are all listed. There is one for rental equipment center in Larimer County. There is one for the Oak Street Trust. There is one for James and Robin Tobin. There is one for Front Range Investment Holdings LLC, and one for Kenneth and Tracy Larson in Timoth. We have three agreements: a grant of public art license submitted by the ranch and our director of the ranch, Mr. McGrath. And this is a license agreement with the city of Loveland for access and placement of public art, the Equinox sculpture, which is designated at the ranch, which is our ranch events complex at I-25 and 34. And this is through August of 2023 through July of 2042. And there is no money associated with that. We have an amended and restated memorandum of land lease agreement for FTC Taft Hill Verizon Commercial Mobile Radio Services for administrative review, file number 18-CONE2361. And we have the First Amendment to land lease agreement for FTC Taft Hill Verizon Commercial Mobile Radio Service administrative review, file number 18-CONE2361. And both of these are between Larimer County and Selco Partnership or DBA Verizon Wireless. We have a couple of appointments, recommended appointment to the Extension Advisory Committee, and then also midterm appointment to the LaPorte Planning Advisory Committee. We have two deeds, deed of dedication from Carol and Debbie Cromer for the right-of-way on County Road 19, PN 337, and a deed of dedication from William and Maretta Armstead for the right-of-way on County Road 19, PN 337. And these are for between Larimer County and these parties. We have a letter of support, Broadcom letter for support for the CHIPS Act funding, and this is CHIPS is the CHIPS Act, which is the commercial creating helpful incentives to produce semiconductors for federal financial incentives for facilities modernization. We have 10 liquor license, and the last one we will be pulled. I'll mention that when we get to that one. The first is a liquor license, reported changes, corporation, limited liability company and partnership, liquor and fermented malt beverages for Rocky Mountain Gateway 1 or Wapiti Park Corporation. Liquor license, reported changes, corporation, limited liability company and partnership, and liquor and fermented malt beverages license, Wapiti Park Corporation or Rocky Mountain Gateway number 2. And then we have a liquor license renewal for Noble Wolf LLC, or the Potbelly Restaurant and Lounge. There's a lot of liquor license today. Please bear with me. Liquor license special event, liquor percent 6% for Friends of Laughing Buck Farm. We have our liquor license special event 6% for Green Events Incorporated for the fall equinox in Bellevue. We have a liquor license special event a permit for 6% for Overland Bike Association. We have a liquor license special event 6% for Matthews House for their special event. We have a liquor license special event 6%, the Vegetable Connection Heart of the Farm Dinner. We have a liquor license renewal for Vern's Liquor LLC. And then item number 10, the liquor license transfer of ownership will be pulled for today, and I need to have that mentioned in the motion, colleagues, and that will be laid until next week. We have several miscellaneous items. We have 9 of them. We have 5 requests for approval to enter upon lands for our Department of Natural Resources to do weed mitigation. We have number 6 is a Revesco USA Properties of Fort Collins LLP Harmony Shops and stipulation as to tax year 2021 value. And we have, again, Revesco's Properties of Fort Collins LLP Harmony Shops stipulation as to tax year 2020 value. And again, the same one. And then we have a 9th, that's our 8th one. And the 9th is 9th and Denver LLC stipulation as to tax year 2021 value. We have 2 policies on the agenda. Human Resources Policy Procedure L331.5R for compensation. And you can learn more about this as the Human Resources did some cleanup and clarification and add some language so the policy reflects current practices. And there's more information. You can check that on the website. Larimer County, the second is Larimer County Policies and Procedures for County Data Policy. That would be 100.19B. And that is submitted by the Information Technology Office. We have 6 resolutions. We have a resolution establishing the compensation for Deputy Attorney District 3. We have a findings and resolutions denying the Willard short-term rental. We have a resolution approving loan from ID Construction Fund to the Bluffs Public Improvement District number 41 fund. We have a resolution adopting the Larimer County Stormwater Design Standards submitted by our engineering department. We have number 5, finding and resolutions denying the McGravy Crest Whitnell short-term rental. And then we have number 6, findings and resolution denying the Stanner appeal. Colleagues, any other items besides number 10, a liquor license that you'd like to pull from the agenda? Commissioner Stevens, if you would make that motion, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda for September 5th, 2023, minus the number 10 liquor license transfer of ownership to Dish Up 2 LLC, which will be tabled till the next meeting?
Till next week.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I stated that when I read that it will be delayed till next week. Any further comments or about this motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens, for making that motion. Now we'll move on to our special commissioner guests. And I see my friend is here. We have as our special guest, thank you, staff, for being here. We'd like to recognize David Bourne from our Office on Aging Advisory Council. David Bourne is a wonderful gentleman from Estes Park who I had the pleasure of meeting, one of my first meetings serving on the Larimer County Office on Aging Advisory Council before I became a commissioner. And such a kind and welcoming gentleman. One of my first meetings, walked in and he literally stood up and pulled out his chair next to him and offered me to sit down. Such a gentleman, so kind, and a fierce advocate for Estes Park and his community, especially those amazing and wonderful folks up in Estes Park who give a lot back to their community and are retired up there, but really haven't stopped working because they do a lot in their community and advocate. David's participation, I've been very fortunate to get to know him as serving on the council and then coming up to Estes Park during board's community conversations as a commissioner. He advocates well with his community. He's very active in the senior center up there in its changes and move and getting meals out to folks. And he has hardly ever missed Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting. He's very active and very involved and very informed. And I'm just very grateful that we're taking this opportunity to honor and recognize his long-term service to Larimer County. So I will welcome, if the Aaron or Nicole would like to come up and speak about David real quick and his service, that would be wonderful. And then we can invite up David to honor him and his, or maybe someone. I know you all have so many great things to say about him, but I would welcome one of, identify yourself and let's keep talking about David. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. I am Erin Alt, the Program Manager for the Larimer County Office on Aging. I have been in my role for about 2 years, and as Commissioner Shattuck McNally shared, David is always the first one to our meeting, always comes with a smile on his face, rain or shine. He is a very dedicated council member, and we are so happy that he has served for so long. He shares so many ideas. We're just grateful for all of his dedication, especially living in Estes, because it's a hop, skip, and quite a jump to get down to all those council member meetings. So we just thank him so very much for all of his dedication.
I believe he was a council member for over 15 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So this is not just a couple of terms. He has been a very hardworking, dedicated for us for all those years. So David, I welcome you to come up and say a few words if you wouldn't mind. And thank you for, again, driving down the mountain to be here today. It's an honor and pleasure, sir.
I went the wrong building, first of all. I went to the courthouse. So this is the first time I've ever been frisked before I could go to a meeting of Larimer County. But I've enjoyed. I have always been concerned with seniors. I'm a former academic and used to teach courses in gerontology at the University of Kansas before retiring up here. The wonderful thing about this high altitude is that there are no animals called chiggers. You may know about chiggers, and that's what drove us out of Kansas and put us up here. But we're very happy to be here. We love everything about Colorado and Estes Park in particular.
And David, do you have anything you'd like to talk about the council and some things you felt like highlights were for you?
I remember being asked if there was anything in particular that I might think of as a legacy. And my response to that was that the council is a collection of people and we work on different tasks. And because we do, I don't think I own anything. I think the council, the Larimer County Council, owns everything. And they have done everything. So it's not me, I'm just part of a group of people that work hard.
Well, sir, you have been always so kind, and as I said, such a gentleman to welcome me as a caregiver to those meetings and made me feel welcome those first few meetings, and I wanted to thank you for that. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have anything they'd like to make comments. We'll start with Commissioner Kofalis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, David. It's very nice to see you. While I have never lived in Kansas, I have traveled through Kansas, and chiggers have been brought to my attention. So I do know what chiggers are. Not too fond of them. But I just want to say thank you very much for your who you are, all your contributions over the many years that you have served on the Aging Advisory Council. When I was the commissioner liaison a couple of years back, I always appreciated your presence. I think we went through some challenging times working through issues, and you always provided a very sensible, grounding force, kind of keep us on track of things to work through issues and ultimately serve the people that we care about. You're a tremendous advocate for older adults. I'm glad that some of the folks from the Aging Advisory Council are here or who have served on the Aging Advisory Council, and just a lot of gratitude. I think Erin said something. Your demeanor is one of that sort of emanates kindness, and I think we can agree kindness is important. And you are a very genuine person, a very humble person, dedicated to selfless service of others, and the fact that you've generally uh, participated in person in so many of the Aging Advisory Council meetings, traveling from the Hill, traveling down into the valley. I mean, that's another testament to your dedication and your hard work. It may have something to do with not feeling totally comfortable with Zoom meetings, but I imagine you've navigated that as well. So thank you for your service. Much gratitude. I'm really happy to see you again. It's been a while,
Thank you.
David.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, David. Really nice to meet you. I've never met you before, but I'm so sorry you had to be frisked before you came here. But such is life, right? In the kind of world we live in. Just wanted to thank you for your service on the board. I appreciate your sense of humor, and I bet your colleagues did. That's very helpful as we grapple with some of these difficult issues. Also, really appreciate your humility. It's really, when we think about legacy projects, we have to think of the group of people that we work with, and that we can't do our work in a silo, right? We do it together. And so that's what being a board member is. And I think it sounds like you've embraced that. And so thank you for serving Estes Park so well. Thank you for serving your community so well. And I'm happy we could get you away from those bugs, which I have not experienced, but sound fairly miserable. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Well, David, I think that's one of the reasons my great great grandmother left Kansas was to come to Colorado and ended up in Berthoud was because of the bugs. But we're very glad that you chose Estes Park and chose to give over 15 years of service. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve with you as a council member and then as liaison for the Office on Aging Advisory Council. I won't say this is the end of our relationship because I know we'll still be having conversations up in Estes when I come up for our meetings. They're on the 21st if you want to join me for coffee. But I would like to let Lorinda add a few words, and then we have a plaque to give you from the commissioners, sir, and we'd like to take a photo. So, Lorinda, you have anything you'd like to add?
You all have said so much, and thank you for starting this off with such humor. I think not everyone walks in and can make light of being frisked before you can walk in the door, so thank you for that. You are known for being a fierce advocate for your community. You walk the talk. You are generous with your time and talents, and you have been with us for many, many years, and our entire community has benefited. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, we're going to take a quick pause from televised, and we're going to take a picture with David so that we can celebrate him and his multiple years of service and give him this plaque. So bear with us as we take a moment to pause and take this photo. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for your patience as we took a moment to honor David Bourne from Estes Park, who had served over 15 years on our Larimer County Office on Aging Advisory Council, which is just outstanding service to our community, and especially for his community up from Estes Park, being a voice for that community. We'll move on now to our discussion items. The first one is a proclamation declaring September 2023 as Workforce Development Month in Larimer County. I'll ask Mr. Mark Johnson to come on up and introduce this item. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. All right. Well, hello, Commissioner Kafalis, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, and Commissioner Stevens, and County Manager Volker. I wanted to thank the Board of County Commissioners for recognizing September as Workforce Development Month. As interim director here at Larimer County's Economic and Workforce Development Department, and staff liaison to our workforce board, I'm honored to support the month. A little bit of context. September is the nationwide celebration of workforce development in recognition of the tireless efforts of our workforce partners to invest in a better economy, to build pipelines of workers for quality jobs, ultimately helping individuals, employers, and communities thrive. Today, watching the agenda, I know time's a little bit tight, but really wanted to lift up this theme of the power of partnerships. We could literally fill conference room after conference room with the partners that make up this workforce development ecosystem. And we've only chosen just a few who sit behind me today. First, I'd like to acknowledge our Workforce Development Board Chair. Julie. If Julie could just stand real quick. So Julie's with Lincoln Electric. Julie Chila, is a huge advocate and supporter of our work. So certainly wanted to recognize Julie. We could not do the work, of course, without our staff up on the 5th floor who are in the community. We have our management team here. So I see Wendy Horst, I see Cheryl DeGrave, Tanya Perry, Evan Wendlandt, Kelsey Bond, and Adam Crow. I don't think I've missed anyone there. So just so fortunate to be able to help lead and support this dynamic group of leaders as we celebrate the month. And then we thought it would be telling to bring in a handful of our Workforce Innovation Grant subrecipients to really demonstrate that power of partnership. We have 12 active subrecipients in the field who are doing really important work, very diverse quilt of work happening. So Arpie Miller, I'd like Arpie to stand real quick. So Arpie's with Isaac of Northern Colorado, doing immigrant, refugee, asylee work here in our community, incredibly important work. Hannah Krikorian with City of Fort Collins, specifically Gardens on Spring Creek, operating a work-based learning program for pandemic impacted people in our community. Also want to recognize Dr. James Graham with Colorado State University, doing tremendous cutting-edge research work in the field of disability. So we're very pleased to have Dr. Graham here. Karen Wong Brown. I like to think of Karen as almost like a mini workforce center. Meeting people individually to help them connect back to work. I see Yvonne Myers and Stephanie Merrill, both with the Fort Collins Area Chamber of Commerce, engaging in a partnership with our total K-12 network here in Larimer County, helping students connect to businesses. Lori McLeod, I think I see Lori here with the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities, doing important work for older workers here in our community. And do I have someone from Careers in Construction? Yes. So Michael. So doing really important work, helping young people connect to industry and the skilled trades, and the work that I think started in Colorado Springs is just vaulting here through Thompson School District, now Poudre School District. So that's really, my comments. Just want to thank the three of you for all of your support, county manager as well, and would love to read the proclamation.
Thank you. And did any of your guests want to say a few words? Anybody want to make a couple of comments about the importance of this proclamation?
Anyone?
Okay. Well, we welcome you all and thank you for your partnership and thank you for being here today to join us and be here. And please join us for the photo. You're not exempt
Yep.
from joining in the photo. So just to let you know, and I will dog you until you come. So we will move to moving the proclamation. And colleagues, unless you'd like to let's make comments first. We'll start with Commissioner Stevens, and then Commissioner Stevens, after Commissioner Kafalis and I make comments, I'd love you to read the proclamation and make that motion, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mark. Just thank you all for being here today. Thank you for our subrecipients of these dollars. When I think about work, obviously we need to work to, make a living, and it's always good to have work that pays well. But beyond that, work gives us meaning in our life. In many cases, it's what we do. We spend a lot of time away from our families. And so finding meaningful work is really, really important. Something that you love to do, something that you gives back to the community. And so to provide that kind of meaningful work to members of our community is so important and so vital. So just thank you for your work, and thank you for helping us do that with the Workforce Center. As we just finished Labor Day, I guess it's really fitting, and that's probably, I haven't read through the proclamation yet, although I'm about to. I imagine that's why workforce development is celebrated this month, and so just thankful for the people in our community who provide a workforce that then enables us to have economic health in our community, and thank you all for participating with us.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Kafalis.
Yes, thank you. So, Mark, well done. I appreciate that you specifically referenced a number of our community partners who are receiving a WIOA grant, which is an acronym, by the way, and we like to spell out acronyms. See if I can get this one right. Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Money or Grant.
ACT.
What?
ACT.
Oh, yes,
You're
an
good,
ACT.
John. Yep.
So I think partnership is critical. I'm very grateful for the track record we have of a regionalist approach to workforce development, economic development, working closely with the Weld County Employment Services. It's a really holistic approach. I'm very grateful that we have at least a couple of folks who have been very instrumental in helping us to do our best to ensure that everyone has access to meaningful employment, persons with disabilities, older adults, folks with different kinds of immigration status. So I think that's really important. I'm glad to see Yvonne Myers. She's been a champion for so many reasons, and it's great to see her and the City of Fort Collins folks. I see folks from CSU. It's a great partnership, and public-private is the way to go. Ultimately, being as inclusive as we can be, and making sure that folks, the idea of meaningful work is really important, and meaningful work includes being able to have some semblance of financial security in these times when it can be pretty challenging. So I think we do a good job of helping folks find good work that pays halfway decent, so they can have that kind of financial security. Thanks to your team. I appreciate all the emails I get from Cheryl, and I'm looking forward to being more engaged with the Workforce Development Board. Thanks to the chair, Julie, and I enjoyed visiting your company the time when we did it last year, whenever it was, and a big fan of construction management work. And my 6-year-old granddaughter likes heavy equipment, so I'm thinking she could be a prospect in about 15 years or so, or less actually. So enough said. I appreciate you folks a lot. It's good work. It's important work. Let's continue to do it. Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mark, thank you for bringing such a wonderful, diverse, comprehensive group of folks who represent really the amazing things happening in our community in regards to workforce and workforce development. You know, I just, I'm just thinking as you named off all these folks and thinking about all the opportunities here in Larimer County. I have nieces and nephews who have IDD, and knowing that they don't have some of these opportunities in other communities, and knowing the things that they she would have here is just sometimes something to think about. But also, I think our partnerships, knowing that everyone deserves meaningful employment, it is a kind of a purpose and part of life, and to do things to help us gain revenue for life, but also to do things. And if you're spending most of your day doing something that's not rewarding or adding a quality of life, it's can make life less than enjoyable. And so I think this is something we take for granted and overlook the importance of meaningful employment that contributes not only to our economy and to our community, but to the quality of life for folks and to feel like they belong somewhere where they work. And I think that's really important, is you feel like you're part of a team and you belong. It's something that we do here at Larimer County, kind of our 6 guiding principles about being an enjoyable, fulfilling place to work. And it would make sense that all of our partnerships have those same values. And I think those people in the room totally emulate in the highest way those values. And so I want to thank you all for being here today and being a part of this proclamation. It is post-Labor Day, and I was thinking about all the things people working, because my family had to work, in the hospital, and thinking about how hard those conditions. And the pandemic was very challenging and gave us a lot of unprecedented conditions. But boy, we have seen that businesses can, when we work together as a public-private partnership and work together for these workers, we can innovate and change conditions and have jobs that have transformed and changed, and also some have stayed the same, but maybe have some new conditions to make employment easier, with virtual work from home, work remotely, just all kinds of things. But I think what the thing that makes me so excited is that we recognize the importance of small businesses and workforce and development in our community, and that we all came together, especially with our chambers and some of those, and realized the value of you said, talk about the power of partnership and collaboration. I call it the Larimer way. We have done that so well here in Larimer County, and you and your department have done phenomenal, outstanding work, and our former director, Mr. Castillo, as well, because some of that work is still some of the work that he had started. So I wanted to make sure we recognize, but we need a diverse and vibrant workforce to have a really thriving regional economy. And when we realize that we all win when we lift each other up and work together, continuing our talents to trying to find innovation to foster inclusivity and belonging, and just knowing that economic growth, which is certainly thriving and highlighting throughout the country, that this area is growing, and it's growing with a vibrant workforce. And so I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks for the proclamation. Sometimes we do take for granted that these things don't just happen. We have to foster those environments and work together. And so appreciate the opportunity to celebrate that, and to thank all of our partners and celebrate the power of partnership. Thank you. And Lorenda, would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Commissioners. I guess I was just looking at the 6 guiding principles and deciding which one to highlight, and I don't think I can. I think you do them all really well. The idea that economic and workforce were put together as one department to recognize the business and the workforce side of economic development. I think you all walk that talk every day. Staff does a great job of building partnerships. It is really fun. When you go up on the 5th floor, there's a feel up there that is very different, and you all have really cultivated that among yourselves. You allow people to be accountable All of these things that are important values to the county, I think you all do. So being able to have a proclamation that honors the work you do, the community partnerships that exist, all the things that happen to make Larimer County kind of lifted up as a community, it's great to have September as the month to recognize that. And it is wonderful timing with Labor Day having been just yesterday. So thank you to staff. Thank you to the community partners. You all are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you again for everyone to be here. So we'll now read the proclamation and we'll vote, and then we'll take a moment pause to celebrate with our partners. Commissioner Stevens.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is proclamation for Workforce Development Month, September 2023. Whereas the month of September presents an ideal time to celebrate and recognize the collective contributions of sector partnerships, economic development partners, the Workforce Development Board, local chambers of commerce, elected officials, employers, workforce innovation grant subrecipients, and training vendors to the enhancement of our workforce and local economy. And whereas the economic prosperity and growth of our community are deeply intertwined with the development of a skilled and adaptable workforce, and whereas workers are the backbone of a diverse and vibrant regional economy, contributing their talents, skills, and innovation to help drive economic growth, foster inclusivity, and shape a prosperous future for all residents. And whereas Northern Colorado is aligned through NOCO Works with employers, educators, regional workforce professionals, and community leaders to advance and strengthen the economic vitality of our community. And whereas sector partnerships, industry partners, and chambers of commerce have proven to be pivotal partners in the alignment of strategies that meet the regional needs of employers within workforce development efforts, fostering collaboration and ensuring that talent development systems are tailored to meet the demands of our industries. And whereas economic development partners play a vital role in creating an environment conducive to job creation through attraction, retention, and expansion efforts across new and existing businesses and enhancing the overall economic well-being of our region. And whereas the dedicated efforts of the Workforce Development Board and economic and workforce development staff, who have consistently demonstrated their commitment to shaping effective policies and programs that bridge the gap between job seekers and employers to help advance a more resilient and inclusive workforce. And whereas elected officials, through their vision and leadership, actively contribute to the advancement of workforce development initiatives that enhance the quality of life for all residents, drive innovation, and strengthen our local economy. And whereas collaboration among federal, state, and regional government leaders, along with Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, subrecipients, education and training partners, and the public workforce systems partners are instrumental in delivering effective training, education, leadership, and support, enabling individuals to gain the skills necessary to thrive in diverse industries. And now, therefore, we, the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of September as Workforce Development Month. We invite all residents, workers, businesses, educational institutions, and community organizations to join us in acknowledging and celebrating the power of these partnerships through the collaborative efforts that empower individuals, drive economic growth, and pave the way for a prosperous future for our community.
Thank you, Commissioner, for reading that proclamation. Would you please make the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to approve the proclamation declaring September 2023 as Workforce Development Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Commissioner Kafalis.
Actually, yes, I have two other observations I wish to share, which I believe are relevant. One is that through meaningful work, it's very helpful in achieving dignity, a life with dignity through meaningful work. And the second observation I wish to share is that there are all kinds of work, non-traditional work, certainly as a shout out to our friends from the Partnership for Age-Friendly Community and previously the Office on Aging. We know that a lot of work that is done in-home, caretaker work, is often not compensated, and I think it's important to acknowledge that as well. The role of work in helping to achieve dignity, a life of dignity, and indeed the different kinds of work that are out there and sometimes not compensated.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks for adding that. As a caregiver who has taken care of her family for a long time, and I should get hazard pay, which is probably because I had to deal with a nest of wasps as my mother's home yesterday, and so dangerous work for caregivers. But I'm lovingly done that caregiver work. But there are probably millions of caregivers across the country that are not recognized, but it really contribute a lot. So thank you for making that point, Commissioner, and hopefully they don't have to battle wasps for their family members. So with that, motion's on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're going to take another quick moment of pause and celebrate this proclamation with all of our partners. Please come join us, and we'll be back momentarily online. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you for your patience as we took a moment to celebrate a proclamation declaring September 2023 as Workforce Development Month. Very important proclamation. And now we'll move on to our second proclamation for Emergency Prepared Month, and another important proclamation for Larimer County. I will ask, let's see, is it Camille or Ricardo who's going to do it? Both of you, would you please come up and join us, and let's have some conversation about this proclamation. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Ricardo Perez, and I'm an emergency management coordinator with the Larimer County Office of Emergency Management, and then Camille's here too.
Good morning. My name is Camille Millard. I'm also an emergency management coordinator. I specialize in preparedness and resiliency work.
So, good morning, everybody. We're very lucky to be able to share this September National Preparedness Month initiative, and really lucky to be able to share it with workforce and development as well. There's just so many things that intertwine with both efforts. But I did want to share a little bit about National Preparedness Month, and it's an effort to raise awareness about all the efforts going on with every community member, emergency management personnel, emergency services folks, first responders, to be able to work together in emergencies and disasters. So this nationally recognized September Preparedness Month is really an effort to do that, to raise awareness about all these efforts going on in the nation, in the communities, and fortunately enough, in Larimer County too. But it's an effort to highlight also some of the actions that save lives, that, proactive measures of preparedness really do go a long way in, when a disaster or an emergency strikes. So we have a little bit of the things that are happening here in Larimer County that we want to share, a little bit of activities and events that we'll both share. But here in Larimer County, the Office of Emergency Management looks to do preparedness for the community in a way that increases social connection. There's a lot of research out there that communities that are better connected are better able to cope with disasters and emergencies, better able to respond to emergencies. So that's the approach that we take at the Office of Emergency Management here at the county. And then we do it in a way to be able to share preparedness information and resources for folks. So our roles within emergency management for Camille and I are to be able to share that with the community, have activities, have workshops, have presentations, meet community members where they are, and try to elevate those efforts in a way. So, we have a few things happening in September throughout the month, but I want to highlight September 23rd is Hero Fest for Northern Colorado and here in Fort Collins, but it's a regional effort to put together a little celebration with our first responders. Canvas Credit Union's a huge partner in this event, that we've combined efforts within our previous emergency preparedness fairs in the past, but we've combined the efforts for this year with Canvas Credit Union to do the celebration jointly. But that's at the Front Range Village Center here in Fort Collins on September 23rd, the Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So there'll be lots of family-friendly and free activities for folks, and just a chance to engage with our first responders and folks. And then on September 30th, Camille and I are co-facilitating a How to Prepare for Everything workshop for the Windsor community at the Windsor Community Event Center with the Windsor Emergency Management personnel and coordinator. But that's a workshop for the community to be able to prepare for disruptions rather than disasters. And it's a facilitation. It's not so much a presentation, but the gist of that workshop is to get community members to talk to each other, meet their neighbors, think of practical solutions to prepare for disruptions rather than disasters, and just have that for the community. But Camille's going to share a little bit about Dare to Prepare, a community education program here in Larimer.
So this September, we're National Preparedness Month, we are rolling out our community-wide education program called Dare to Prepare. It starts September 14th at the Emergency Operations Center in Johnstown, Colorado, located at 4872 Endeavor Drive. Dare to Prepare is a 7-week course with a focus on the preparedness skills that make us resilient individuals, but also a new approach with the soft skills such as leadership, community building, civic engagement, and why all of these pair together to help create communities that actually recover and flourish after a disaster instead of what we've historically seen not always the case. So each module is Come As You Are, with the third module, so September 28th, being a open wide community How to Prepare for Everything. So we have 2 this month, so if you can't make it in Windsor and you're closer to Johnstown, you can definitely come on September 28th. So those start at 6 and they end at 7:30. And it's a community-wide event. It's open to everyone within Larimer County, and it won't always be hosted at the EOC. This is just the first session, so we're going to host this first one at the EOC, and the goal is to move it around the county to make sure that we're, like Ricardo said, meeting communities where they're at instead of just where traditionally we want to be at. So Dare to Prepare, it starts with the Preparedness 101 to Disaster 101 to critical theories such as chaos theory and how to prepare for everything. And then we get into soft skills like community building, leadership, and civic engagement. So that is a new program we're rolling out, and that starts this month. I think very timely, as always, with National Preparedness Month.
Thank you, Camille and Ricardo. What else would you like to add? You guys have a lot going on, and there's a lot along with the commemoration of the floods this weekend. There's a lot going on for the Office of Emergency Management.
I think we just have a couple of community events. Like you mentioned, September 9th is our 10-year anniversary that we're hosting for, which community is it? I think it's Glen Haven.
Glen Haven.
So
And
yeah,
the,
I can add a little bit of information. So, yeah, it's a 10-year anniversary of the 2013 floods. So on September 9th, there's going to be a commemoration at the Glen Haven Town Hall from 11:30 to 1:30. But it's really going to be a commemoration of all the efforts, everything that happened within the 2013 flood, all the collaboration from the recovery side, and a celebration of all the volunteer efforts that happened throughout that. So, yeah, it'll be a chance to be together with the community and then share that moment for the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary. We're also in the Office of Emergency Management is also doing a community resilience assessment. And this is a yearly assessment that we do to try and gauge the level of community resilience within the community. But in September, we're having 3 resilience community conversations, just an opportunity for community members to have that in-person chance to provide some feedback about how do we provide better, information and resources within emergencies for our community, for us to learn a little bit more about these social capital, social connection aspects of how we can, structure the emergency management program a little bit better to serve the community. But again, all of this input is going to go into how do we improve the program at Larimer OEM. So we're going to be doing listening session on September 12th at the Loveland Library, the Tuesday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the library. And then the following week on September 19th, we're going to do the Resilience Community Conversation at the Old Town Library in Fort Collins at the same time, just September 19th, that next following Tuesday from 5:30 to 7. And then on September 28th, we're going to do the conversation up in Estes Park at the Estes Valley Library from 5:30 to 7 on that Thursday, September 28th. So yeah, we're doing a little bit of outreach and a little bit of presentations for the community around both resilience and preparedness, but it's an effort to raise awareness around some of the resources, information, and increase that social connection that we're hoping to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much. There's a lot going on. So, colleagues, do you have any comments for Camille or for Ricardo? Commissioner Stevens?
Yeah, just want to thank you, Camille and Ricardo, for being here today to accept the proclamation, and just thank you for your hard work. I mean, obviously a ton of events that you're having, but that you also have your daily jobs, which is right. Being in your office and making sure that that people are connected and responding to emergencies as they happen. So we thank you all for your work, and just I'm really impressed by the work around community hubs and the work that we're doing to build more resilient communities. We have, places for people to go in cases of emergency. But I really think this concept of how to prepare for everything is really intriguing, because the idea is, how are we more adaptable and resilient as a community and as individuals to be able to deal with what hits us, and we don't always know what that looks like or what that is. And so just having that strength of and that ability to, when you prepare for disasters or emergencies or even fluctuations, you're stronger in the moment, and you're more confident to be able to, you don't freeze, you know what you need to do to be able to take care of yourselves, your family, and your neighbors. And so the work that you've done is remarkable. I think it's really knitted our communities together across the county, and it's really enabled people to feel, stronger and more self-sufficient. But also to know that there's people that will back them up, both in their communities and in local government. So, just great work. You're doing what we need to do in our community, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you for your work. The Office of Emergency Management, a team effort. I think that, the idea of social connection is a foundation to community building, and that's one of the best ways we can prepare for all manner of emergencies and or disruptions. I think OEM, Office of Emergency Management, is one service that the county provides in terms of things related to adaptation, mitigation, recovery. We know, for example, from the 2013 flood, we're still recovering from all of that. We know, for example, from the Cameron Peak fire in 2020, we're still recovering from that. So the work that you all do is really important, and I'm glad you're getting out into the community. And I'm hoping you can confirm one way or the other whether or not you can be up in Red Feather Lakes the same day you're going to be up in Estes Park. So please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, I can't state enough how much I appreciate the social connection that you guys generate out of the work you do just to help folks get prepared for the things that happen in Larimer County that maybe other communities don't experience. We have certainly a interesting history, especially in the last decade. But I think out of those challenges have risen a very collaborative, connected, stronger, resilient community. We talk about preparedness, which is kind of that first step. We always want to get upstream and literally upstream and figure out how we're going to prepare. And then we've been doing a lot of mitigation work, and your team is doing a lot of mitigation work. I happened to walk around a forest with Josh Roberts, we were walking with the state looking at what we need to do for fire mitigation, and that's a real big passion of mine is forest health and how we're protecting our watersheds and our forest and our air quality by preparing. We have to prepare for this next. It's not if, it's when. We keep saying that. And then also just the work that Lori Hodges and all of you do for regional operational coordination. We're known for Larimer County for having amazing partnerships and coordination, and it shows in our responses the last decade that we were able to move quickly and move together and to move as a community and think about all the evacuations with during Cameron Peak fire. I believe that some of the groundwork that was laid down in community partnerships and connection is really huge. And then we have the recovery. We have a lot to, we're still recovering from, even from 2012, and even as I drove down the canyon, thing about the gentleman and the folks that lost their lives in 1976. I always stop by that memorial and think about all those names and all the lessons, hard lessons learned, and that we keep learning and keep getting more resilient. And that's the whole goal, is these resilient, strong communities. And some of our communities are pretty much the visual, walking, living, breathing definitions of resiliency. And we're going to get to celebrate with one of those communities this week. But everywhere I go, there you are, both of you and your whole team. We go to events in Estes Park and Livermore, and we're going to miss Risk Canyon this year. I'm still very sad about that. But there you are. Connecting with community, making them feel safe, encouraging them to sign up for message and text alerts and those things. And I don't think folks understand how important your work is to make sure folks are connected and understand what to do in times of emergency. As talking with the former mayor of Louisville, was the mayor during the Marshall Fire, and now as a county commissioner in Boulder County, talking about things they learned, especially when they couldn't get home to get their pets, and trying to make those connections to save their pets or have a plan with their neighbors. These are things that you guys are going to help folks feel empowered to do, and to feel like, to kind of make not just a list, but a plan. And that creates these connections that folks will know that their community cares about each other and they have a sense of belonging, which is also, I think, really important of the resiliency. So I have to just commend you all for your work, your whole team. Lori Hodges has created an outstanding, amazing team with the Office of Emergency Management. You guys do some great things at EOC. And I just can't thank you enough for your work. You guys are fun. You're always having fun together, but I think people feel at ease, so they feel empowered and not worried. And so that empowerment is really important, and just grateful for the things that you do. And the innovation and the ideas that you've come up are pretty inspiring and give me hope and get me excited. I'm going to put some of these on my calendar. I like to just be in the back of the room listening. So just wanted to say thanks for being here today, receive the proclamation, and now I'll ask Lorinda if she had anything else she'd like to add.
I think for the community's benefit, I really appreciate that our Office on Emergency Management here in Larimer County worked backwards. You focused first on resilient community. What does it take to be a resilient community? This proclamation is a great reminder that we all need to be prepared for whatever may happen, whether it's community-wide or just in our neighborhood or maybe just in our home. The idea that you've got this Dare to Prepare class is really exciting, and the curriculum sounds fascinating and fun, and I encourage anyone out there to go and take advantage of that, because I think we do have disruptions in our lives, whether it's a flood, a fire, loss of power, stuck in our home because it's snowing or raining or something is happening that, that is outside of our control. So thank you for focusing on resiliency. I think that's a critical piece, and for all the work you do to help the community prepare and meet them where they are to help prepare. Everyone has a different need, and you recognize that, and you almost give the personal touch to each community. The services you provide are not the same. They are based on what that community needs today at this time, with a focus on resiliency for tomorrow. So it's great to recognize Preparedness Month. I hope that people listen to this and become prepared and begin to pay more attention to those kind of things so we can be ready as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenda. I will now ask Commissioner Gonzalez to read the proclamation and make the motions. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Larimer County Proclamation declaring September 2023 Emergency Preparedness Month, whereas Larimer County's severe weather extremes can significantly threaten the residents and employees of Larimer County by causing power outages, whiteout conditions, flooding, wildfires, mudslides, vehicle accidents, and washed out roads. And whereas National Preparedness Month is a nationwide coordinated effort sponsored by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security each September to encourage Americans to prepare for emergencies in their homes, businesses, and schools. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners recognizes the benefit of having an informed public for home and family preparedness, including community members, employees, individuals with household pets, and individuals with access and functional needs. And whereas during the month of September, Larimer County will urge employees and community members to take measures to make themselves and their families better prepared for emergencies. And whereas the Larimer County Office of Emergency Management's 7-week community education program, Dare to Prepare, will be open to the public to sign up. The Dare to Prepare community education program aims to instill confidence and readiness in responding to and recovering from disasters that impact our region, and will start September 14th and end on October 26th. And whereas public events will occur in Larimer County, Loveland, and Fort Collins throughout the month of September to educate community members about the risk of wildfire and flooding, and Canvas Credit Union, alongside Northern Colorado first responders and emergency agencies, will host the 2023 NOCO Hero Fest on September 23rd at the Front Range Village in Fort Collins. And whereas the Larimer County community members and employees can prepare for emergencies, help lessen the damage and destruction they cause, and help protect their lives and property if they are aware of precautions they can take before and during emergency situations. Most importantly, training helps to enhance the safety of the county's greatest asset, our people. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, Colorado, that the month of September 2023 be designated as Emergency Preparedness Month, done and ordered this, the 9th day of, the 5th day, we're not quite at the 9th day yet, 5th day of September 2023. Thank you. Oh, the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I move to approve the proclamation declaring September 2023 as the Emergency Preparedness Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, we're going to take a brief moment to take a picture and hand out this proclamation. We'll be joining you momentarily. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back. We appreciate you being patient as we took a moment to celebrate with our Office of Emergency Management staff, Camille and Ricardo, to read and take a picture with our Emergency Preparedness Month proclamation. And I encourage you all to go to the website, learn more about all those amazing events that are happening this month. Next on our agenda is our third discussion item, which is a very important and very exciting agenda item. I'm excited to share this with the public today. It's a discussion item requesting the Board of County Commissioners approval of the 2023 Impact Fund Grant Award recommendations for funding and an allocation increase of $16,731 from the previously approved $2.8 million budget. And now I will welcome Jessica to come up to the podium and introduce herself and proceed with her presentation. Thank you for being here today.
Sure. Wow, that's really loud. They are working on some technical things to try and get the PowerPoint up, but if not, I can just speak to the printout that you have in front of you.
Let's give it another, let's give it a few more seconds. If not, we can follow along with your plan. If the public can just give us a moment as we work through some technical glitches today.
Okay, no problem. We'll just use the handouts.
Okay,
fine.
Great. For those in the public, I'm sure this will be posted. It's in our agenda, the packet, and also will be up on the website as well. So just wanted to share everyone that this is available publicly, but we'll be walking through this with our hard copy handouts. But please listen in. These are really exciting recommendations and programs. Thank you. Go ahead, proceed.
Sure.
Thank you.
Commissioners, this was also on the printed agenda, so if you look at the packet online, anyone who's interested in following along could find it there as well.
Thank you, Lorinda. Okay, let's proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Plummer, and I'm the program manager at Larimer County Behavioral Health Services Department, and I oversee our Impact Fund grant program. I'm here today to seek approval for awarding 35 grant applications in the amount of $2,816,731. As a brief reminder for those tuning in, the Behavioral Health Service Department is the fiscal steward of the 0.25% sales and use tax ballot initiative that was passed in 2018 for the expansion of behavioral health services in Larimer County. A majority of those funds are going toward building that acute care facility you see going up on the corner of West Trilby and Taft Hill at the Longview campus. But a smaller portion of those funds are invested back into the community to address critical gaps in the continuum of behavioral health care through our Impact Fund grant program, which is what I'm here to talk about today. So if you're following along in your packets, you can flip to the next page. I'll talk about the next slide. This year, our department received 78 grant applications from 72 unique organizations and over $7.5 million in requests, which was a significant increase over last year. The last 4 years, we've been receiving about 55 applications for about $4.5 to $5 million, and this year we saw an increase in an additional 23 applications with an additional $2.5 million in requests. That being said, prioritizing awards we believe that will have the most impact in the community was extremely challenging, with so many quality programs doing such great work out in the community. The recommendation this year is for 35 grant awards and just over the $2.8 million allocated. That way we can avoid arbitrarily making a partial award to grantees to make that exact number. So we are also seeking approval today for an additional $16,731 in addition to the annual allocation. For a little bit more background and context, the Board of County Commissioners approved an increase to our allocation last year from the $2.5 million to the $2.8 million we have this year. And this is already the program's 5th year in operation. And each year, this program involves over 80 diverse community members through our 3 advisory groups. So our Behavioral Health Policy Council, which is made up of elected officials and some members at large, our Technical Advisory Committee, made up of professionals in the field of behavioral health, as well as our Consumer Advisory Committee, made up of those with personal lived experience navigating the behavioral health system, as well as our Grant Reviewer Evaluation Committee. These 4 groups have dedicated hundreds of hours to help shape the funding priorities, targeted areas of focus, and evaluation for this grant program. We're so grateful for their time and dedication towards this initiative. If you're following along, I'm going to move on to the next slide. In addition to the input from these groups, we have a robust and transparent 6-layer review process that shows you how these grant applications are evaluated. As you can see, we go through a pre-screen process. We have 78 applications that came through this year. And what we do in pre-screen is just to make sure all applications are complete and they meet our eligibility criteria. Only one this year did not pass through the pre-screen process and moved on to initial review. At the initial review phase, our staff takes a deeper dive into the applications to make sure they meet the ballot language, that they are behavioral health related, and they have the capacity to take on the work that they are proposing to do. And only 2 this year did not pass through the initial review process because they weren't actually behavioral health related grant applications. Then it goes to our subject matter expert panel. That's what the SME stands for, subject matter experts. We have our external grant review committee that reviews all these grant applications. And so 75 went through that process. 3 of them received no's from 3 SME reviewers. So each grant application gets 3 SME reviewers per application. So for the 75 grant applications we had 225 reviews and about 13 reviews per reviewer. So 72 applications went to our executive review committee, and there they had the opportunity to look at all the grants and all the reviews, comments from all the previous things before there. And what generally happens is through the review process, we usually have more that we're looking to award that are recommended for award than we actually have funds to give. And so the executive review panel has the challenge of trying to prioritize those recommended for funding to fit that $2.8 million portfolio that we have. So 35 were recommended for award to our move forward to our Behavioral Health Policy Council for review, and 43 were recommended for decline. We met with our Behavioral Health Policy Council on August 21st to review those recommendations, and they recommended we move forward to the Board of County Commissioners with unanimous approval as presented to bring to the county commissioners, in which we met in a work session on August 30th. And we're here today to talk through, to get approval through the administrative matters. So without further ado, if you have the packets in front of you, either in the slides or on the other printout, we're excited to bring to you the 2023 grant award recommendations. And again, want to thank everyone that's been involved in this process. These are listed out by our targeted project areas. Our targeted grants are designed to address gaps in behavioral health care with concentrated focus and funding. And this year, 85% of our portfolio will go towards these targeted project areas. We do allow 15% of these to go towards our responsive grants. Responsive grants are those for those organizations that identify a behavioral health need and propose solutions that fall outside those targeted project areas, but align with BHS funding priorities. So if you're going through, the first one is for care coordination and system integration. I should also mention that these were identified and created by our advisory groups as these gaps in the community. We also have workforce expansion and support. We have alternatives and interventions in criminal justice, services in diverse settings. We have expansion of child and youth services in our responsive category. The one that I would like to highlight here on this alternatives and interventions in criminal justice is this one nominated for the Gary A. Darling Award. For those that are unfamiliar with what that is, that was an award we established in 2020 to commemorate Gary A. Darling's career, and it's for the best application at the intersection of behavioral health and criminal justice. And so this year that award nomination went to UC Health Northern Colorado Foundation, and that is going to support a co-responder through the City of Fort Collins Police Services. So those are the list of grant award recommendations we have. As I close, I'd just like to say we are honored by the number and quality of grant applications we received and are pleased to recognize these organizations for serving the behavioral health needs in communities in Larimer County.
Thank you for a job well done, great presentation. And just for members of the public, we had a work session on this last week, and just want to know that for a lot of members of the public, we have, for me, I have looked at these probably 4 times now, and but I know we've had a chance to look at these and have other discussions, but we appreciate the conversation today. I have a few questions or comments, but I'll first go to my colleagues. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think I asked most of them at the work session. So just wanted to, Jessica, thank you for the work that you've done here and letting us know about the grants that you're recommending here. Certainly, appreciate you spelling out the process. So we have 78 grants, and we've whittled them down to 35 recommendations. But as you were mentioning, this is a very rigorous process. We take it really seriously. We make sure that behavioral or subject matter experts, the executive review team, the council, all review these applications to see if they, meet these target areas, but also, how they'll serve our community, are the organizations financially viable to stand up these projects? So there are certainly a lot of projects that didn't get funding this year, and but I think it's really remarkable that 78 organizations applied, because it shows that organizations across the county are really realizing how important it is to invest in behavioral health. And so I hope that those other projects will find other funding dollars and maybe come back to us next year with the revised applications. But certainly, this is a huge amount of work. Thank you to Commissioner Shattuck McNally for her work on the council. And really glad to accept these recommendations from you. Did want to, just mention with the expansion, one of the categories being expansion of child and youth services, that over $1 million is going to organizations in that category. And not to mention the fact that some of these other categories also provide services for young people. So I know that that's a big concern in our community. We're seeing, crisis in behavioral health amongst our youth, and I'm glad that we're addressing this with these dollars. But thanks again for your work, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for those kind comments. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to you, Jessica, and your behavioral health services team that is assembled here. Certainly, thank you to Laura Walker in her various roles in helping to shepherd many of these things. This is a meticulous process when we receive applications starting in June, and it goes through all the various steps to try to make the best and most informed decisions. I certainly support these recommendations. We did have a good conversation last week. The final point I wanted to make is that it's really good that the county is able to reinvest these county sales tax dollars back into the community. As you stated earlier, the monies that are generated by the 0.25% sales tax, 25 cents on a $100 purchase, go out into the community throughout the county. Geographical diversity is really important, supporting community-based organizations. And then, of course, a good chunk of the sales tax dollars have been invested in building our state-of-the-art behavioral health facility, Longview Campus Acute Care. So it's important and it's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I first want to just thank the behavioral health staff team. Want to first thank, Inter Director Laura Walker for her work and leadership here and supporting the team as they go through this process, because it is a very extensive, comprehensive, rigorous process. Jessica Plummer, thank you you've done a lot of presentations and a lot of work, and I know you go out and actually meet with these recipients and applicants, and the whole team does a lot to help shepherd, warm handoff, talking with, supporting applicants during the process. And then for those who received or didn't receive, I know some of those who didn't receive, you're going to be talking to them about scoring and helping them. So this is a very collaborative, connected, community connecting process so that these recipients feel supported and valued. And that's really important because they're doing really important our work in this community. We have a lot of folks that weren't selected, but that's not meaning that they're not doing great work and valued services in the community. And I know how important each and every one of them is to our community. And to say that we have 70 applications, was stunning, and to think about the needs in our community is really important. I also want to make sure, I want to thank the rest of the team because I really appreciate the work they support of the Policy Council. Ryan Barstow, who is a business operations and coordination, I know that you help also with a lot of work behind the scenes to support the team. Tyler Kelly, the implementation manager, newer to the team but been make a great impact. And Summer Leeming, I hope I have that right, Summer, sorry. But you're the accountant, so you have all these numbers to crunch and things, and that's just really important. And of course, Jessica, and without certainly not last and not least is Jennifer Wolf Kimball, who's this communication specialist who does a lot of great things to get our word out in the community. And you're all such important, valued members of this important team. And I want to just thank you because I know this process takes a lot. It is very accountable, transparent, stewardship focus process. And we voted last year to go up to 2.8, and then still having all those 7.5 million asked. I want to just make that note again that there's a lot of needs in the community. And thank you to the voters of Larimer County. If they hadn't passed this tax, which I worked on that team back then, and we ran all over the county, if they had not passed this tax, we would not have these resources today to invest in early access and intervention and coordination throughout our community, and be opening up our acute care system and center, and have this phase 1 complete. And without the support of Larimer County voters supporting the Larimer County in this endeavor, and with our partners at Summit Stone Health Partners and all the partners listed in these in the last 5 years and listed today, we would not have some of the things that we have going on to support our community at this time. And so this is huge. It's all of us working together for the health and welfare of our community, and that's really important. I want to say that for those in the public, we're having a phase 1 celebration. If you're interested, there will be a chance to look back and see about all the grant recipients that have started all the way from day 1, and having that to educate the folks and see how we have been very successful with the completion of phase 1. And a big part of that was these impact grants that have been going on since the first year of this tax being successfully passed. And we started out first with, grants to the school district to hire staffing into their schools. And you think about where we are coming today, this certainly has grown and expanded, and we have done a lot of, the collective, the nonprofits, the county, the Board of County Commissioners, the team, all the care providers, everyone, the collective we have done a lot together to serve the needs in our community. And unfortunately, the needs have grown as has the funding. So I want to thank you all for the presentation today. I really like the format, and I'm really grateful and celebrate the UC Health Northern Colorado Foundation for receiving the Gary Darling Award. And maybe we can have them come in sometime and celebrate them just for a little bit. But with that, I don't have anything else more to say than my heartfelt gratitude. I have a lot of confidence in this process. There are a lot of eyes that look at this, and we make sure that we're meeting the most needs. So, job well done, and thanks for the presentation. Lorenda, did you have anything else you'd like to add?
I think I'd just like to stress, I'm sure when people see this list, there are some that are celebrating and some that are disappointed because they did not get funded. And it's not a matter of worthiness. I think everyone is working on this problem in our community. It is a great, huge problem that one organization like ours can't solve. We do have a lot of great community partners, but these grants are just the tip of the iceberg. And so if you are listening and you are a business looking for a worthy cause, some of these organizations are something you might want to consider to provide mental health supports for folks in our community. Thank you for the transparency of this process. I think that's really important. And I want to say thank you again for the personal time you take with the individual organizations who were not funded so that they can have a dialogue with you and not just receive a letter that says that they were not funded. Everyone who does things in this area cares deeply about the community and wants to do good things and needs additional resources to make those things happen. So thank you for the personal time, and to the whole team for all you do. This is a group effort. I know it's all hands on deck when this stuff rolls out for these grant applications. So thank you.
Thank you, Lorinda. Appreciate that. So now we'll just move on to the formal approval of these recommendations. And so I will ask Commissioner Stevens to make that motion, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the 2023 Impact Fund Grant Award recommendations and an allocation increase of $16,731 for a total amount of $2,816,731.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens, for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Well, congratulations again. Thank you to all the folks who volunteered their time to read those through those grant applications. We had a lot of folks, and I meant to mention that, but some of those folks spent 45 minutes to an hour on each application. So there are a lot of hours put in by our community partners who graciously gave of their time and talents to read through all of those. And I forgot to mention my heartfelt gratitude, because we couldn't do this without their participation, and all of them are giving of their time. So I wanted to make sure a special note and thank them for their service. So with that, thank you, team, for being here today. And we look forward to seeing the good work of these grants as they're implemented in our community. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is our community manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I will keep it relatively brief. We continue to meet with our departments and offices on preparation for the budget. So you might recall that our policy requires a submittal of a draft proposed budget to you by October 15th, and so that's the timeline we're working with, and we will meet that. I continue to be impressed with the departments and offices' seriousness that they take some of these reduction requests. They're also continuing to ask for things that they need to keep their business going in an innovative way. So I appreciate that they're able to put two hats on throughout the process. So if they're listening, thank you. This is really great work that our leaders are putting in to help us meet this odd budget year. I will also say we're continuing to develop the plan for the strategic plan that begins in 2024. Work sessions continue to happen with you all about those. Do you get feedback along the way? And I feel like that is progressing in a way that will produce a pretty, I think, a good strategic plan, but also we'll have some stretch goals for our community and will require a lot of collaboration, I think, among community members, perhaps led by some of the county's convening skills. And then finally, I met with the Wellington Town Manager, Patty Garcia, the Fort Collins Downtown Development Authority Executive Director, Matt Robenall, and CSU Extension Front Range Regional Director, Carrie Rollins, as part of that outreach that I do on a regular basis with the community members, and continue to really appreciate those folks and the insights that they have and their interest in what the county is doing.
Thank you, Lorinda. Colleagues, do you have any questions for Lorinda? Okay, well, we'll move on to our commissioner activity reports. We'll start with Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually do not have anything relevant to share.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I hope you had a nice holiday weekend. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, in keeping with what I've done at least for 1 week, I want to highlight others who are doing great work in our community. So Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I got to tour Lightning E-Motors, is a business in our community that produces electric fleet, medium and heavy duty electric fleet. And so while we were visiting, they were working on school buses and delivery trucks. And their CEO is very bullish on the prospects for the future of this company. They have partnerships now with GM and Ford, so they are producing electric vehicles, I think, as fast as they possibly can. So in a month when we're really acknowledging workforce development, they not only have great workforce development and are training people for jobs of the future, but they are adding to our economic health and also really honestly helping us achieve some of our goals for greenhouse gas reductions. And then another business that I visited this past week was the Fox Den, which is a no-waste cafe and roastery on LaPorte. There again, these are folks who are doing great work. It's a no-waste cafe, so they are cannot get single use plastics there or single paper cups. It's a bring your own situation or use the glass and ceramic cups that they have there. And so there again, someone who's really dedicated to not adding to our waste stream, helping us get to that zero waste emissions goal, and really helping us reduce our carbon footprint and our greenhouse gas emissions. So just thank you for those businesses in our community that are really doing their job to help us with these emissions reductions, in addition to providing jobs in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I appreciate you sharing about those things. I'm going to share about a few things I did because there's some unique things that happened last week, but I want to highlight some of those unique things as new community members to our community in our county. But I'll start with what we did together. You're right, that was a great tour. Thank you to State Senator Marchman and C3 partners for providing the chance for us to jump on the bus and take that tour. We started off the ranch complex, and we were able to share about the unique things with our sales tax and what's happening at the ranch. And we appreciate sharing to a very full bus of individuals to learn more about our ranch complex. And then I do agree about our tour at Lightning E-Motors. You and I have been able to tour there before, and it certainly has changed and grown since we were there a couple of years ago, and was really great to hear from the CEO and how passionate they are about this work, and appreciate they're really great paying jobs here in Larimer County, and I want to support them keeping their business here and being a great partner, because I do think we align as two organizations with our climate goals. One of those things we partnered with them is the EV mobile library for Poudre Library District, and they're very proud of that, and it was a really fun day. After that, I ran down to, after that tour, I ran down to the state capitol to testify in front of the Wall Matters Interim Committee for my role as the on the Forest Health Council that the governor appointed, and the chair of the Legislative Committee. I sat with Department of Natural Resources Director Dan Gibbs and Colorado State Forester and Executive Director Matt McCombs and Angela Bogue from DNR, and we presented to the committee the annual report and the lengthy legislative priorities for the upcoming session. And we actually are starting already for 2025, believe it or not, for legislative priorities. So we just got done with those recommendations. I will not go through them today. I can bring you a hard copy, colleagues, or just email them to you, and you can decide that it is very relevant to Larimer County because it is a lot to do with wildfire mitigation, forest health, and some of the recovery work. And I think that's important for our partners and some of the things that we're doing here in Larimer County. I think we joined, you were also on that call with Colorado Counties Incorporated, Commissioner, as we had that conversation about housing and land use discussion as we're getting ready as commissioners for the 2024 session. For those in the public, a lot of things already kind of working together with those communities. So then on Tuesday or Wednesday, we had a lot going on, but I went and did a tour. Congressman Caraveo came to visit Larimer County. Dr. Yadira Caraveo I wanted to tour our Office of Emergency Management, and I appreciate the staff doing that tour. She found it very fascinating. She learned a lot. Her and her staff came. And then I want to thank Kimberly Culp from the Larimer Emergency Telephone Authority, who took us up to their office and toured and shared about the things that we learned about the several layers and the deaf and services and the 100 languages. But something I wanted to share that happened, you remember they showed the live texting thing that you could text into the dispatch and show what's happening, whether it was a fire or something. But I was part of the simulation where I was pretending to be a victim of domestic violence, and so I was calling in or texting, and so they showed how they can see it and they can watch the room, but then they could reach in and turn my screens black and turn off the sound so there would be no sound. So as a victim, I would be protective, and it was quite stunning to see my phone kind of go blank, but they could still see everything happening in the room and hear the conversations. And that was something new for me. I know the congressman or staff were very impressed and appreciated her time in Larimer County to learn about that. And thanks to Lori Hodges, Kimberly Culp, and the entire staff for welcoming everyone. That was something I wanted to share with you. I thought that was something we hadn't learned before. Found it very fascinating. On Thursday, we had a tour with the Office of Emergency Management, the Department of Natural Resources, the person involved with what they call COSWAP, the Colorado Strategic Wildfire Action Plan grants. They came up to Pole Hill around Pinewood Reservoir towards some private land owners where we saw some mitigation work with the Larimer County Conservation District. The Big Thompson Watershed came along as well. We did several stops and we got to have those conversations. They're really important about the work and the grant and the needs to get this work done, and the workforce and the equipment. I didn't know some of these equipment, just to take one little fix, was $70,000. And anytime you have to move these equipment from site to site, it can cost several $1,000s just to move the equipment. So that was another thing to think about as we're partnering and trying to coordinate projects so it doesn't cost as much to keep moving this equipment around. So I found that very fascinating. And then I ran up to down for the at the Budweiser Event Center, soon to be Blue Arena, for the press conference for the new National Arena League Colorado Spartans, and I welcome them to the ranch. They're very excited. Two wonderful brothers, Tony Thompson, as a former professional player. From South Dakota. They're very wonderful, down-to-earth folks, great, community-minded, want to be engaged in the community partners, and it is the first person of color-owned team in the National Arena League. And I thought that was very unique and something to celebrate and welcome them. They should start with their games in March of 2024, and I'll certainly be interested in seeing how that league progresses, and I think if there was some things in the paper to talk about that. We had back into our Forest Health Legislative Committee on Friday as I could chair that, and it was very exciting to the work we were already, like I said, working on our plans for the 2025 legislative session, and also how we're going to advocate for our legislative priorities, and hopefully the interim committee votes to make some of those priority bills. And I was grateful for Congressman Neguse for his town hall and his service town hall and engaging us in the sheriff, and someone from our DNR, Casey Cisneros, got to help load some bales of hay along with some other folks in our community, and it was really exciting to see everyone with that. On Tuesday, I had a very large community conversation in Loveland, and it was really well received, and we had a lot of great conversations about the OEM and other activities. And I really appreciate when turning out. They had some really robust questions, and I appreciate their questions. And then just thank you to all those. It was great to hang out at the tailgate party at CSU and celebrate with the kickoff for collegiate football around the whole region. We had a lot of teams having games this weekend, and it was great to celebrate and to hang out with folks. And I had a lot of time to talk with students and the student ambassadors, and really appreciated them asking lots of questions. They didn't realize the county did so much, and so they're going to be looking to maybe join some of our boards and commissions. And so I was excited to have a lot of those conversations, and that's why I wanted to share that with the public, because the students are really wanting to be engaged and learn about policy work, and so I was really heartened by that. So that's all I have to share. It was a lovely weekend, great to be outside and hike and rocky, and just appreciate all the things that people do to make it a beautiful, wonderful community to live in. So with that, we have no other items in our agenda. We are going to move now into our legal matters, and so there is no decision expected, so we will not be returning on air. But I will ask Commissioner Stevens to read about this executive session that we're going to move into and make that motion, or make the motion to move into executive session. And we thank you all for joining us today. And we will see you next week at our next Administrative Matters meeting. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I move that this board goes into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6, 4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding court case number 23CV 30694, 4411 Storm Mountain LLC versus Larimer County Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner, for reading that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you for joining us today. We're now into executive session and we'll be going off air. Have a great day.